Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
No, the project I've just uploaded to the session 9, just before the session, 2 minutes before only I've uploaded.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So, I'm just asking, so we'll continue this by doing hands-on, or you want me to explain the code how is written?
I think that would be better for me at least because s- hands-on will lag the time little bit. Uh, so you can explain
No,
probably, you can practice later. I'm fine with that. Probably
Yeah, maybe we
Deepada can.
can go back and watch the video again, recording, and
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
can
yeah.
then-
Parallelly,
okay,
we
so
can do it offline, watching the recording. That would be better. At least
okay,
because we will have less sessions, probably we'll cover maximum thing possible. We'll listen and ask doubts and take the source code and play recording and learn offline. At least I would be
oh,
fine with that.
Yeah,
sure,
I
sure.
think
And let me just, you're also okay, no,
yeah,
Shri?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me just open the project then.
Because with the office work, parallelly practicing and going back is not working for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
I can understand. I have given the fake backend, which is JSON server. So that's what here npm run JSON is. I'm just running these two because of the backend code, which is already available in the same project itself. So here there are two files I have added, which is node fake backend, which is one is data.js where the data is present. Okay. And where we have another which is auth middleware JS, which will configure the REST API. So that is which is the REST endpoints to access this, and yeah, all the REST endpoints are available here. Based on that username and password, so here configure the username and password. This is simple Node.js code only. Okay, so it's username and password. So only these two files are has a backend here. Like as you both are with the background of Java, if you want, I can give one front end and backend which is developed with a Java Spring REST applications and front end as Angular.
Yeah, I think I have the similar requirement for this project.
Okay, yeah,
Angular
sure.
front end
Then
with the backend Spring Boot. That is where
okay.
we are planning to migrate.
You're in which team, Prashant? Like, are you the where the Whitefield near Vaidehi Hospital? There is one branch
Yeah,
in
that office. Correct.
Mobile.
JFW
But
session.
in during February, we planned some Angular session for migration, right?
I'm
You
not
have
sure
any idea
because
of it?
I, when I moved to this project quite recently, 1 month down the line,
Oh,
and I, prior to that, I've never got a chance to work on this Angular stuff. So here we have full stack development. We use Spring Boot at
mm.
the back end, and we migrated recently to Angular 10 also with some extra features that they wanted. So I'm not
Oh,
familiar with the concept, so thought of asking the training to my manager.
Okay, okay. No, because I was there in the discussion before. So, like, had some Angular 1 project, so that should be migrated to some other Angular 1 version. It was a requirement, and I guess, yeah,
Oh,
it's February only. So we should
oh,
start off a training, but because of Corona, COVID, and all, it stopped.
oh, okay, okay. I'm not
Yeah.
part of that project.
Okay, maybe other thing. Yeah, okay, it's okay.
Other team. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just start here my front end also. Just ng so. So like here we already completed the store. In the store, we started with the uh, card details. So that is card details we would have started today. Okay, so I will start from there itself. The card details component HTML, which is like yesterday we have created the guard classes.
Good.
So the guards are basically to taken care of a simple security for our application. That is what is the routings to be accessed. So which routings to be provided with the accessibility. So for that we are using here the guards. So the same store guard which is can activate, that we have provided in the app routing module TS. That is, here we have given it as a store first guard which is can activate. So that is, it will be checked for, okay, without the store guard allowing, we are not able to access the any of the routings in our application. Only store can be accessed. Why it is only store can be accessed? Because in the store first guard TS we have written the condition, if route.component is not equal to store component, we are mentioning please navigate to this page. So it will be navigating to slash. The slash is configured here, which is for store, which is the redirect we have given. Because apart from this four, anything which you are trying to access, it will be going to the store. So that's why here we have written the, in the store first guard we have given here the store component. So based on this security is working, like only this guards will be allowed. So where we have to develop the card details component HTML. That is, let me just go to the UI. So that is which we have done till this the code yesterday. So that is this page we would have designed today. So that is, this is the page which is card details. Card details page we have to write it. So like yesterday when we just clicked on the add to cart, it was coming to this page, but this code was not available. So now we have to write this code. So this is a table designing which we have done, which basically we can do the division, like div tags also can be used. And here it is the input type number, and which product we have selected, that product we required it here. And we required what is the price of that product, and the remove button, that is to remove it. So where we are going here to the card details HTML. In the card details HTML, so first, as like any other pages, first take in the first div, the container fluid. In the container, we have divided the two rows. The first row is taking the navbar of brand, which is online store. So then the second div, which is taking here the table, which is the table bordered and all the table styling we have given, where it is displaying your cart with the heading. Then we want to display the quantity. The first column we wanted as a quantity, then the product, and price in the subtotal. This we are aligning to the text right. So for the aligning to the text right, we have taken the CSS, which is text right here. Then we have taken the D body. In the T body, we are taking the T row. For the T row, we are mentioning if the cart dot lines dot length. What is this cart? Like yesterday, we have created the cart class, so which is taken care of. Like this cart, we already injected here. You go to this cart, it is taking a cart lane. That is how many number of products you are adding to your cart. That will become a cart line, right? So if any products are already added to the add line, then it will be coming to this particular code. So that is, it will check is the cart line contains any value or not. If cart liner's length is equal to 0, if no items are there, we want to get your cart is empty. So like if you see here now, I just click on add to cart, it is product is added, but if I just remove it, if I remove it, so I should get the proper table structure and the price should be 0 and the cart is empty. For this we have written the if condition, that is the ng decorator if we have written, this ng directive if we have written, and we are writing if the cart length is 0 then it should be empty. If not, like we have written another tr which is using the let for, because how many number of items you are selected, everything will be there in the lines array in the cart component, in the cart model here. So in the cart model, we have a cart line. So whichever you have added the cart, added the items to the cart, you can see here this dot line dot push. Like yesterday we have written this code, this dot lines dot push. So it is pushing the code to the array. So that's what it is coming here, cart details component to HTML. So then we are taking here input type number and the class form control and the style width, so which is input type number we have taken here. Then we have taken here line dot quantity, because whatever the quantity you are updating, it should be updated to your cart. And we are calling the on change event, which is cart update quantity. So that is in the cart model TS. Yesterday we have written one more method, which is updating a quantity. If you are adding, then this one will take in. If you are only updating a quantity, then this method will be called. And update the quantity, based on the quantity, it will calculate the price. It will calculate the price. So that is, this is the text box which we have written. In this text box, if you are changing any value, so that it will call this update quantity method, which is there in the cart, and which is carrying what is the product you have added to the cart and what is the event dot target value, that is to taken care of the data binding with the event. So that is we are sending, like here you can see we have, it is a property binding, it's the event binding, combination of property binding and the event binding, which we are doing a two-way binding, which is dollar event of target dot value. So that is, whenever you go here, when you just add some product, like I'm going to continue shopping. So whenever you just change the quantity here, you can see when the quantity got changed here, automatically the total price will also be changed. Like let me just change to 4. So the quantity is changing, because in the update quantity, again we have written the recalculate method. We written the recalculate method so that it is updating the value. So for that we have taken here this, the text box. And other we can't edit it, because already the product which is added, we can't change the name of a product, so it is not editable format, it's only table data. Same way the price also we can't change it, and when you are displaying, which is the pipe currency INR it's showing. So then we have taken here one button, that is to remove if you don't want that item to be purchased. For that we have taken here the button class, which is click card dot remove line. So that whenever you are removing, we want to just only pass the ID, which product you want to remove from your cart. So that we are taking here card dot remove line dot product ID, which is a remove button. So this is why here we have written the one button, that is to remove all the product. So then we are writing the T footer, which is taking here card dot card price, because card price will be the total cost in the cart model T is here the cart price. This is we are updating in the recalculate method. So this is we are updating in the recalculate method, depends on the quantity into whatever the products you have selected, all the product prices will be calculated. So in the recalculate method. So because of this here, we will be getting the, what is the total cart cost, that will be showing here. Again, it's a price. So we are taking the currency pipe. Then we just ended the table. So after that, if any items are there in the cart, like here we are taking, we have two buttons. The one button which we are using here, the router link, which is whenever you clicked on this. So we should not have a anchor tag here. So it's a button. For any button, Angular always recommends to go with the router link. So because it is a routing module. So with the router link, we are mentioning whenever you clicked on this button, it should go for a continue shopping. It should go for a continue shopping. So where if you just go here and there is no products available in the cart. So I can't click a checkout because there is no items present in the cart. We can't go for the checkout option. So for that, what we are doing here, we have taken the another button. We are mentioning the condition which is disabled. If the cart dot lines dot length is equal to 0, if the cart items are 0, then it will do checkout. Then it will do checkout. Else it will be enabled. Only the disabled condition we mentioned for cart dot line length equals to 0. So then it will be doing the checkout here. So let me just come back here and add to cart. Again, continue shopping. So there are some items in the cart, so that's why the checkout button is able to click. But if there is no items are available, you can see that will be disabled. So depends on the condition we are making, it is enabling or disabling. And this is about your cart component HTML we have written. Are you clear with this cart component HTML?
Yes.
Shri?
I'm clear.
Okay. So once this is done, like now we want if the items are available in the cart, so we have to do the checkout. So we have to prepare the checkout module. So once you go to the checkout module, we need a form that is to get the details from the end user. That is what is the address should be given. So that end user address to be given. And we have to taken care of the validation. Like for example, if you have not taken any value, so it will be a red line is coming. Or if you're just not filling this form, you can't complete the order, right? So all this validation should be taken. And if all the details are present here, like everything is filled up, so then we are able to see, so like complete order, it will give only some static message which is thank you for placing your order and will ship as possible. And we have one button which is to return to store back. So if we just click on return to store, we'll come back to our home page. That is what the checkout page is doing. When we click on a checkout, this is what we have to design it. So for the checkout, so that is the another next component which we have created yesterday, which is checkout component. So like here, checkout component HTML, first checkout component TS I'll be taken. So whenever you're going for the checkout, what is basically the checkout will be doing? It will take how many, like what is the order and what is the data will be there in your orders. So that we have to write the other model class to carry your orders. So for that, we have taken how we created the product model. The same way in the model, I have created here the order model TS. In the order, we are taking ID, name, address, city, state, zip, country, shipped. Is it shipped or not? So for that, we have taken all this property. That is order model TS has taken to capture all your order values. So that's what we have done here. So then for this constructor, we have created a cart because order will be continue with the cart. And then we are clearing, that is we have written one clear method to make all the values as a null. That is to make it all the values are null and the cart should also be empty. So for that we have written the cart dot clear. So that is when you go here, once we go to the checkout, so if you just click on a back, so that is it should clear what the items you have filled. Like if I just fill some detail and if I come back, so it should automatically clear the details when I'm coming back here. So that It's like if you want to have some clear method, you can call that clear here. This is to make all the values are empty. So this is our order model class, which is have only the data setters. So which is also a type of injectable. Then we have here order repository TS or order service. You can call order service also, which is injectable here. Like we have created the orders, which is orders with the empty array. Then load orders, that is how many orders are there, we have to load it, so that how many items are there in the cart. So that is to get it, we are calling this dot loaded, this dot data source. Where is this data source? Data source is object which is rest data source. That is, either you can go with the static data source, or I am created another class which is called rest data source. The source we created yesterday, which is static data source, here it's hard coded value. But in your real projects, we don't hard code the values. We'll get it from any backend application. So that here the REST data source is a one backend. It is interacting with one application, which is running on the port number of what we have configured here, which is running on here. So we created a protocol and we are accessing here the port. So we have configured here the protocol is HTTP and the port number is 4210. So like, let me just show to you here. Localhost 4210 product. So here my backend is running. You can see that that is the two files which I have shown. So from the data.ts, it is getting all the products. Okay, there are 10 products are available in the database, like in my backend application. So all the 10 is given here. So the same way which we are taking here, which is this dot base URL and the location dot hostname and the port. First constructed the base URL because the protocol and the location dot hostname, which is it will be local host, it will be accessed from your environment variable, and here we have taken the port. So this is the default base URL for all the types of requests. And then now here we are created here the get products method, which is accessing from the this dot base URL, the base URL with the slash products. So that's where here all our products are there. Same way, if you go here orders, so there is no orders as of now here, so that's why the orders are not coming here. Okay, so I have to write the backend for that orders as well. Okay, so that is, it is written the save order method, so which is with the orders and what is the order you have to send it. Then if you want to authenticate, you have a authenticate method with a URL of a login, which should be pass the name, password. So then here, which we are accessing with the authentication token, if the authentication token response access, then it will be written the response access, else it will give the null here. So that is to authenticate your user. Like all the REST API interaction, which is happening with this particular class. Okay, all the methods are available here. And it is using some bearer token. That's why the authorization is bearer token with the this dot authentication token. What is the authentication token will be generated. So this is the REST data source. So that REST data source here I'm taking in the order repository, means in the order service. So from that I'm getting all orders. This dot data source dot get order, which is subscribe method of O. This dot orders of order. So we are storing into the O variable, which is to the this dot orders, which is here order array. To the order array, what orders are there that we are loading? Same way, if you want to get order, we have written a get order, and to save a order, we have written save order, then update order. So for all the method which we want to interact it with the REST API, so after interacting in the order repository, we are getting all our codes. So this is what here order repository. It's same like yesterday how we written the product repository. So same way here it is a order repository. But instead of interacting with the static data source, like the product repository also I've got changed, so which will be interacted with the existing backend which is available. Okay, so that will be happening here. So whenever you have done with the new repository or the new service class, all the services this to be registered in your providers. So in the model module TS, we have registered here the REST data source. Like already we registered static data source. If you want to change it from the static to REST, so we can use it here. Provide static data source. Use the class. Instead of static data source, it should use with a application. So we have written the provided a static data source, but use classes REST data source. So in one place we can do the changes for our code. So that way here the REST data source and cart and the order repository, everything we register to providers because these are all responsible for the data. So now the orders method, all this code is available now. So in the checkout component HTML, like first in the checkout component is, so we created the we injected the object for the injectable order repository and order model also we have taken here. Then in the submit order, like whenever you fill the form and submit the order, first it will check is the form is valid or not. So as we discussed in the previous session, so there are two types of forms, template driven forms and reactive forms. So here it's a template driven form, so that to work with the template driven form, so like to create the form group, we have a ng form class which is from Angular forms. Like here we imported from the Angular forms. This is to taken care of your form. So that ng form we have passed to the submit order, and if we will check if the form is valid. So the valid is a method which is available with the ng form to check the validation. So if the form is valid and if it is submitted also true, we are changing the value submitted false to true, and we are checking if the form is valid. If the form is valid, then we are sending to save order. So then it will be subscribed to this dot order dot clear and order sent, and this submitted is false. So once it is submitted, we are changing it to true to false. So the order will be sent here. So this way the submit order method is written. So then we have the component HTML for this. So how the form will be created with a template driven form. So this is just to display the online store, first row. After that, we are taking here the next one, which is ng if we are checking if the order is sent. Order sent is a one variable which we have created in the check component TS. Like if you see here, the order sent by default, it is a false. If the order is submitted, then we are converting false to true. Okay. Why we have done this, which is to make sure as the order is sent or not, which is true or false, to check it out. Like in the check component TS, it will HTML, it will check is the order ng if order sent, then it will give this message, else it does not give this message, that is to return to store. So this method, this div should be displayed only if the order is sent. So that's why we made it defaultly it is a false. So if the order is submitted, then it will convert from true to false. That time this code will be displayed in the UI, else it does not display. Are you clear with this code, like till now what we discussed?
Yes.
Yep.
So then we have taken here the form, which is of ng. We have taken if not order sent, then this should be displayed. So when you load your page, which is of to the checkout, so this code should be displayed. This form should be displayed. So for that we have written form and ng if order not order sent.
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 399 plan and grow your skills immensely.
This we have written. So that here we have a hash form. That is whatever the ng form you will be taking, that ng form, it's a template driven form. So to write with the templates, we'll use a hash symbol. So hash form, that is for the form, this is the ng form. To the name of the form to identify is a form. So that is the hash we have used. Then we have to allow for the validate. To allow for the validate in the template driven form, we'll use the method called no validate. We'll use the no validate. And whenever this form is submitted, which is calling submit order and sending the whatever the name you have given for ng form. So the template name. So that form we are sending here. So when you do ng submit, so this submit order method will be called and send the form data. But in the form, we have to store all other data. So with the form, ng form, this is the total form. So in that each column, you have to register with ng model and what the name you want to give it. And always it will prefer whatever the name you have taken in your model. So the name, same name can be binded here. So in the order model, we have a name and we have a address and we have a properties like city, state, zip, country. All these properties we binded here. So that is inside of a one div here, we have taken the label and the input type. So input of a class form control, this is to give the designing CSS, and the name, this is for template, and the same name of the text boxes, name only I have taken because this is the name of the text box. And to do the two-way binding, because from form you have to send it to the, from the form you have to send the data to your component TS, and you want to do the two-way data binding, we'll use banana in a box. That's why here we written ng model. So for that to access, we created one order object in a checkout component TS. You can see in the constructor, we created an order object. So we injected the order object here. So that order.name we have taken. So this will be mandatory. So we have written required. So if this data is not entered and we have taken here span ng if of submitted. If the data is submitted and if the name is invalid, if whatever the validation you have given which is required, so if the name is invalid, then it will give this message which is please enter your name. That is, we can write the different properties like submitted or touched. Touched means when you just without entering if any value, it will show the red line. So that's what touched. If you want to give it like now here, when you see for this particular form, if I just come at, I did not enter anything and come out of it, but it's not given any message to here. But if you see the address one, if without entering anything, if like zip, without entering anything, so it will be given, if I given the wrong, then it will be given the red box that is touched. So the touch property and the submitted. Submitted means whenever you click on this only, it will do the submission and the messages are coming. But I want this message should be come whenever I touched and without entering anything. So for that, we will use the property name which is like touched. Like let me just reload here the page. Check out. So here if you see the country, without country entering, touched and come back, it will show please enter your country. Because only the country I have taken the property which is called touched. So country dot touched. So if you take a touch, so that when you just go to the text box and come, immediately the validations will be taken care. If you want the validations when you submit it, then you have to go with the submitted. So that's where the validation will be taken care here. So where you want to display what is the message, so for that we have taken another one span in the div. So which is if submitted a name invalid should be given the text red color. So text danger CSS class. So please enter your name. So it will become in the red color. So or if you want with the touch, so here also name dot touched. So I just change the property from submitted to name dot touched. So let us just see here. So immediately it will give please enter your name. It will not wait for you to submit. So depends on how user friendly you want to give, so that properties can be taken care of here. So then the second text box, which is for address to taken care, again input class of form control, and the template which is address for this particular text box, which of ng model, and to send the data we are using ng model, which is order.address, which is mandatory, so it's a required. So then here I've taken as the submitted and address invalid text danger. So almost same code which is for every text box which I have taken care here. Okay, so then here we have taken, so please enter your city, your state, all the form text boxes are same. It is not a reactive form because it's a simple text box form, and no dynamic nature should not be required for this. So that's why the template driven form is taken here. If you want any dynamic forms, like I have shown one link in the browser on that time, I guess 2 days previously. So that is to go with the dynamic form. So we can use the reactive forms. So then here it's a simple form which we have taken. So then whenever we just submitted here, with we have written, and you do type submit, which is to complete a order, it will be go to the submit method. So that is submit order method or order sent. What is the method? Yeah, submit order method, and it will carry this form. This form have all the templates of your name, which is ng model, and then we have here the address and the city and the state. All these details will be captured here with this template, and the data will be carried to the next method, the TS method. And we have given one more method, which is to go back. So here back is written, and the router link to cart, because that is the back page which we want to do it. So that is about the checkout component.html which we have written. So are you clear with this whole checkout process, like complete of this? So where if you don't want this properties to be shown, you can do the autocomplete off. Once the order is sent, then only this message will be coming, because inside of the submit order, if you see inside of a submit order, we are making the order sent is true. Whenever the order sent is true, in the checkout component HTML, we have written the condition, which is if order sent, then this code should be displayed. And this should not display, that's why not order sent. So that's what you can customize your front end, like in one component, what should be displayed, what should not be displayed, you can configure it here.
And before
So
returning,
this,
you're clearing the form, right?
yes.
Okay.
So that's what in the checkout component this we are submitting to the save order method. It will go here in the save order, return to data source of save order. In the save order, it will be sending to the whichever the backend which is written, for that it will be send the data. As of now, there is no data to accept in the backend, so it will just only give the message.
Okay.
So that is the one whole model which we have done it here. So where we want to go with the authentication or authorization with our code. So how we will be taken care of the authentication or some any role based thing which we want to do it. So that is the for the next step which I have taken here. So which is admin. So I just added one more button here, that is to taken care in the store component. TS. So where in the store component TS, I'm taking here one authentication component, which is with admin. So when we just clicked on this admin, we want to get this page. So where is this page? So for this, we have created the authentication component, which is, you can see in this, I have added the child routing as well. So once you go here, this is a one routing which is happening like in the cart and the checkout. All this is a one routing. So where if you just taken the another routing which we have done, which is the this is all till now what we have done as a store module. Like admin module is one module where which will be taken care of the adding admin or adding updation or deletion. All these things are available with respect to the this particular module. So where for this we have created another entire new one guard that is to taken care of our authentication. So this route navigate by URL means we are checking here is the authentication is authenticated, like there is a service called auth service TS. So in the auth service TS, which is injectable again, we take in here REST data source and checking this data source authenticate username and password. We are sending username and password to your backend, and if it is returning successful, it will be written the authenticate message. With that, it will give authenticated property read only. So it will be given one authentication token. So if the authentication token is not equal to null, then it will be getting. Whenever you want to clear or you want to remove the authentication token from the data source, you can do the clear method. So that authentication token will be clear. So where we have written with this, so the another module here I've taken. First one is like in the store component. In the store component HTML, like where is our number app card summary, then all the selected categories. Yeah, here you can see after all the selected categories. So then I have taken here one more button, which is here button class. So where router link is equal to /admin. So that is there will be a one more routing. So we are mentioning here to go to the admin. So where this admin is available, so that is we have it in the router link. App routing module TS. You see in the app routing module TS, so we have another path which is called admin, but admin we don't have any component here. See, whenever we have one concept here with the Angular, which is child routing or the lazy loading. So what is this lazy loading or loading the children? So that is if every complete routing, if you done it in the one particular app routing, so your component or your project will be loaded very slowly, because all the routing should be taken care of the like first this one only will be loading, so complete routing should be taken. But what we wanted here, we want to give the lazy loading feature for this. So that's why what we can do it here will be go with the load children. So that is to work with the lazy module, that is all the ng modules which you are creating are eagerly loaded, which means as whenever the app loads all the ng modules, whether you want it immediately or not, but it will be load. Like in our application, how many ng modules we have taken? So like we have created the app ng module, which is app module TS, and app routing module TS. Then we have store module TS. Then we have a model module TS, and now we are working on a admin module TS. So then which is admin module TS. So all the 5 or 6 ng modules in the small application will be loaded when the app loads. So whether we want or not, but it will be loaded. So for the larger application, there will be lot of routes will be there. Okay, like this is a simple application I have taken for a training. But when in your real scenario, so you may be having a bigger project, right? You may have some 10 roles. For each role, you may have some different module, which each one particular role is doing a lot of jobs. So for each role, you will have some routings. So I don't want to load all the routes together, or when the application is loaded. So for the large application with the lots of routes, we want to consider the lazy loading. It is a one design pattern that loads ng module when needed, as needed. The lazy loading will helps keep initial bundle size will be smaller. So the initial loading will be smaller, and whichever the load children you have written, so that will be loaded as needed whenever it's required. So to keep it your first loading as a small size, which will help to decrease the loading time. So for this lazy loading, we'll go with the load children. So load children as an object specifying to load the children, lazy loading. So the lazy loading module we can configure in the routing module, that is for the admin. We don't have only one particular component. So we have to load that module, but it should not load when the total application is loaded. Whenever you call admin, then only this module should be loaded. So that's why this is here load children. So load children, and we are writing here what is the module name which should be responsible for this admin. So this is a different module, and for this also we have to take in care of the can activate of a store first guard. So that's what we are writing. So store first guard is the guard which is for all the type of routings which is there in the app module TS. Then for the admin module, if you want any other particular route, any other guards which you can take in care. Are you clear with the load children?
Yes.
Okay, so basically when the application loads, I don't need to load all the modules, so that whenever you want to mention it in the routing components, for what particular parts you want to load a component, this one will be loaded when when the app loads. But this one will be whenever you call the admin, that time this module will be loaded. So you can reduce the first loading time. So both of you clear?
Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Unclear.
Sorry? Shri, are you talking something?
No, I told unclear.
Okay, okay. So then it will be load the children, which is admin module. When it will be, whenever we click on a admin, so it will be loaded this module. So we have some routing called admin/auth. What is this admin/auth? So that is here. We have a new module for it, which is admin module. That here first module, which is admin module TS. So in the admin module, we are giving the routing for the admin module. That is first auth component will be coming, which is authentication component. If the person is authenticated, so then with the authentication component, this is the authentication component which you have to do the login. If the username and passwords are wrong, it will be give it here invalid or authentication field. If you given the proper values, which is admin, and then password is secret, and I'm just logging in. Once I've done the logging in, then it's have a different routings. So if it is login, the login component is here admin main. In the admin main, if the routing is products, so the products, orders, and the logout. So these things which we want to get it. Okay, so for this, what we have written now, so that is the route module for child, which is the path is auth. So that here authentication component we have taken. So and then we have taken the main is admin component. From the admin component, so for the like this is another way to load a children, but this is not lazy load. If you made it like this, it will not a lazy load. If you want to do the lazy loading, you have to go with the load children. Okay, so in that case, again one more module should be created, and that you have to mention it as a load children. But whenever the admin module loads, I want all this components also should be loaded. So that's what I have used the children property for the path. So path, the main, and the component is admin component and can activate auth card. So if you return or can activate auth card only for the main, but still it is a parent, so it should be as like inheritance, it will apply for all the children components also. If you see here, apart from this auth or main, if you give any pattern, then it will be redirected to auth here. Like when I just go to admin, and in this, if I just give any other things, it will be redirected to the same store component, because that's what here the main routing we have mentioned, when whichever you give should be come back to the store itself. So then here we have taken a auth component. So then in the children, we have written the products of edit, and the path parameter we are sending here, that is to edit it. So product editor component. Then to create also we are using same component, and to do get all the products we have written product table component, and to show all the orders we have taken here order table component. Then it is redirecting to the products. Apart from this, any other data if you are giving. Okay, so this is what the routing which we have done in the admin module TS. So this is another module, so that in this module, what is the provider, which is AuthGuard is the provider, that provider we have written. Then Angular says, if you are going with the multi-module project, if you are going with the multi-module project, Angular say always you import a common module. Common module should be imported whenever you go with a multi-module project in the Angular. So the common module will be it is a structural directive that renders a template for each item of a collection. So that's basically it's a common module will have ng if, ng for off, or decimal pipe. All these common features are available in the common module. It provides the option to configure ng module injector. So that's why whenever you go with a multi-module project, in each module you have to go with the imports, which is common module. Then forms module. So in this particular module, we are working on a forms. So forms module. And what is the routing here we created? This is the routes we have created. Router module for child. If you see in the routing module, we took it as a, like in the app routing module. Yeah, router module dot for root. It is for root module. But here it is a child. So that's why here we have written router module dot for child. So this child we have written it here. So that routing we are sending in the inputs. Then the providers, which is we have a auth guard. So here the auth guard will be, we have taken the router and the auth service. The auth service is the injectable component, injectable code we have written, that is to taken care of the interacting with the backend. So then here we are checking can activate. So the route and state we are passing, so that we are getting here. If not, this dot auth dot authenticated, that is in the authentication service we are getting here the authenticated, means it will return what is the authentication token. If it's written the authentication token, then it will be navigated to the admin auth. If not, it will return the true. So if it's written a true, means it will go to the whichever the link you are trying to access. If you are not authenticated, then only it will redirect it to your admin auth page. That is the auth card which we have written for the admin module TS. So that auth we have written it here, the auth card, and it should be guards also should be adding to providers because which are all injectable. The guards are also coming with a injectable decorator. Then here we have taken the declaration, all the components which we want to write it. So that components here we have taken, which is auth component, admin component, then product table, product editor, and order table. So all these components can be written here. So that's what here the admin module TS. So let us first go to the first component, which is auth component. So this auth component is responsible to read your username and password and check with the backend and should give the authentication token. So that we created here one variable which is username, password and error message. So where we are taking construct a private router and authentication service which is interacting with your REST backend and given here the message. So which is we created one method which is authenticate. Again here ng form is sending and checking if the form is valid. If the form is valid, the authenticate method we are sending username and password. So it is all the methods which are available or with the HTTP interaction. So which are all returning the observable. Either you can go with the observable or you can go with the promises and the Angular. So basically Angular make use of observable as it is an interface to handle a variety of common asynchronous operation. So to do with the asynchronous operation, you will be using the observable, that is to handle the Ajax request. So to handle with the Ajax request, we will be go with this observable. So where instead of observe, like here observable have many observers like PubSub module as I explained in the previous session. You can use the observable or we have other ways to go with this. So that is with respect to promises. So the promises are also to interact with your backend or any HTTP type of request. But there is a difference between the observable and promises. Let me just take a notepad. Either you can write, you can send a promise request or you can send a observable. So the promise will always emit a single value. Like let me just take a first promise. So it emits a single value and it will be a synchronous request where observable is a asynchronous request. And promise is not a lazy. It will be taking the data from the REST API which is sending. And once you send a promise request, you cannot be cancelled. Cannot be cancelled. You can't cancel the what is the promise request which you have sent. But where if you go with the observable, so observable which emits multiple values over a period of time. So it will be emits a multiple value, not a single value. It emits because it's asynchronous and it is actually a lazy, so that an observable is not called until you subscribe it. If you subscribe, then only you will be getting. So else you can't get the data because it's a lazy. An observable is not called until we subscribe to the observable. And it can be like it can be cancelled because we have a unsubscribe method. Cancel using unsubscribe method. So that's the base difference between the promises and observable. That is, it can be cancelled using a unsubscribe method, and it's a lazy, it emits multiple variable like multiple values over a period of time. It will be keep on requesting for the data till it sends the data here. So where like in the network terminologies we see promise will uh, do the handshake, but observable will not do the handshake with the what is the application. So that's what here the difference is. Like whenever you go with the code, like in the REST code, like where you are getting, like for example, if I write a method called get products.
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely.
Products. Well, write return like whatever the current variable in the service, this dot http dot get method, and we will send here the request, that is http whatever your backend. I'm just taking here localhost 8090 slash whatever the API slash products, if this is your backend application. So you may get CORS policy error because if your backend is not allowed. So whenever you are developing your backend, so there you have to write some policy called CORS policy, so that the CORS policy will be allowed which type of request you can do it. So this is a method which we are, if you write it with this, so the by default the data which is returning is observable only. Like here, if you're not writing also, it will by default take observable which is like product array. Okay, so that will be returning. So where if you want to taken care of the exceptions, exception handling and all, we can go with some operators here which is called map of. It will always give the two values. One is the successful response, where you can get it to response, write a arrow function, so that response.json. So it will be giving the successful message. If any exception comes, we have to handle the error, so that we can write it here catch, and what is the handler you want to write it, so that handler error code should be written here. So this what we will be writing whenever you go with observable. And in the component, if you want to get this data, so we will write it here like this dot whatever the method, like I'll just take here product service dot get products. If you write only this much code, it will not get the code for you, because observable, it is a lazy, till you subscribe it, it cannot give the data. So for that we have to write it here, the method which is subscribe, and the subscribe, it may give the error or it may give the successful response. So that if it is whatever the response here you're getting, like I'll just write it p, and then arrow function this dot products equals to p, then this is the successful message which is coming. So either you can write this and then the error message which you are getting, so that is, this will be the error response which you are getting. Like this you can write it in the component, one is for successful message, one is for error message. Where if you go with the consumer code, or if you are going with respect to the um, any of the other promise way of a code. Okay, when you go with the promise, so we don't need to write the subscribe method and all, and the return type will be, instead of observable, it will be replacing with the promise. And in the promise you don't have this map method, catch method and all, so we will just write only the this dot http dot get method, so it will be written the response, because it is only emitting the values at one time, so that is emits a single value. So that is the difference between the observable and the promise. So are you clear with this? Like, let me
Yes.
just,
Yeah.
I'm clear.
for promise also, if you just go to get product, so like here I will write a promise and product. We'll use this with to promise method. Like, let me just take here. We can go with what is a map and response of data. So with this, that's what I was saying, which is to promise method should be written here. So to promise should be written, and that we will be catching here. So this we'll write it with to promise here. Where different depends on which of Angular version, like Angular 6 and above if you're using. Instead of map, some people will use it here pipe as well. So the pipe is also one method that is to taken care of your piping a response or the code which you are writing. So this way it will be done. So where if it is a promise request, you no need to write the subscribing. So we will just directly write it. So this dot employee service or whatever the product service you want to write it, you will be able to get the data inside of this message. You will be able to write. So with the method which is called dot then and what you have written. So no need of subscribing and all. Inside the then method we will be writing, which is with a promise. So that will be a programmatical difference, and this is what is the difference between the observable and the promise. So clear with this?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just come back. Yeah, here I'm using all the
So where will you go for unsubscribe in this case?
so
We want to
like in this
cancel, you told, but yeah.
if you want to cancel the request, so in your service code, like in where this method is written, so there itself you will get it here. This dot product service dot get products. You don't want to send the request, so we'll use it here unsubscribe method, so that it will stop the sending a request to your code which it
Okay.
is doing. Yeah, it will be do unsubscribe.
Okay.
So where yeah. So here in the authentication, so it is a returning observable. So we took here the subscribe method and we are responding. If response, so just routing and navigation to admin main. So if it is successful, if it is failure, so we are mentioning authentication failed. If it's a wrong credentials, then we are giving this dot error message, which is wrong credential. If true response is not come, this one will be shown. If the response is true, this code will be executing. If the response is like coming and written, so it will be a wrong credentials. So this way we have written in the authentication. So to go to this, like we have a component HTML to be written, which is again a simple div form, where this is the place we want to display the error message. If error message contains some data, that's why we are taking error message not equal to null. If it is not equal to null, then only we will display, else we don't display this error message. So where the form and no validate, here I have taken ng form, ng submit, which we are sending the authenticate method, which by passing the form data, and div class, so the form group which we are taking, which is of name, and input type, which is name is username, and ng model, which is of username and required. Then the same way we are sending a password. So once both the data is sent, like if you want to go back, here we have given the go back link, else we can just do the login. So whenever you do the login, so it will be go to which method, because here we are calling authenticate method. Authenticate method will be calling from the authentication component is. If it's successful, it will go to admin main. So that is what is the main component we have it. So this is the admin main component we have here. So in the main component, which we are taking here, the router, and then we have written one functionality which is called logout. So that is, we are creating an authentication clear whenever you do the logout, and we are navigating to the main page, so which we have written slash. So here we took authentication service, that is to clear your logout details, and then we are taking a router. This is for navigation. So in the main admin component HTML, what is the code which we have written? So it took some link, that is here div class, which is of the first button which we have taken it as a products, which is linking to admin slash main slash products, because admin is your main routing. If you see in the routing module, the admin is a main, it will be loading to children, will come to admin module to yes. In that under the main you have a product, so the link is admin slash main slash products. So that's what here for the products page. Same way we have taken for the orders page and took here logout, but for the logout we don't have any method, so we have written here the logout method. So it will come here the logout method to whatever the component TS which we have seen now here, and clear all the data, and it will be navigating to your main link. So where in the admin component TS, here, like if you clicked on the products, we want to get the product details. If you click on the order, so we want to get the details. So whenever we go with the routing, so it is mandatory to go with the router outlet. So that's why here we have used the router outlet. So this is the code which we have written for the admin component HTML. Okay. So then let us just go to the admin main products, which is the router link we have. For this, we have it here, the product table component. So here it is retrieving all the products which is available. So product repository has taken and get products, this dot repository dot get products, and written the delete product method. So if you want to delete any product, and then I have a product component HTML for this. So where here again the complete data is displaying, which is all your table details, and ng for of it's getting all the products. So we have written the get products method. So there here it is getting all the products and displaying all the products. And if you want to do edit, we just mentioned it should carry the item ID and it should go to this link. Excuse. So which is here, we have taken admin main products edit, which is what is the link which is responsible for, which is edit ID, which is product editor component. So if you click on our products create, so it will be taken to again to the same component. So there will be some difference. Like if you see here, so we are just displaying all, then we are giving edit. And if you want to delete it, so we have here the delete button, it will delete the product. And where you want to add a product, so here it is only a soft delete, because in my backend it is not connected with the database. Okay, it will be only deleted from your list. So where I have a add product, so with this it will be just go to this button and admin main products, which is of create. So where if you just log in as admin, secret, and I do log in here. So this is the page which I'm getting now, which is by default the products page is rendering, and we do login, and here all the products are displaying. So if you just delete any product, yes, deletion will be happening, but not permanently, because it is only deleting in your front end, in the backend it will be available. Okay, it's a soft delete, not a hard delete. So you can do hard delete also by, if you have any delete methods in your backend, you can call that method and do the deletion also. So same way, like when we click on our add product, so I just not written all that code, so it will be given the form how you got it for your checkout page. Same way here you have to design your form, and the same way how you took products, so same way you have to take the orders and the logout. So this is what like I taken as a one projects to be taken care. So if you have any doubts you can ask me, else I already uploaded the code. Please download it and go through once, so then you can ask your doubts. So as you both are backend of Java people, so I can demonstrate one Angular project. So it will be almost same with anything, but only one change with the post method. Like whenever you are sending a data, like here product is a simple one, right? Like when we see the product data, it is not a nested JSON. If you see, it is a simple JSON, ID, name, category, description, price. But in your real life scenario, you may not get this much small JSON. It will be a nested JSON, right? You'll have all the relations, like has-a relations, like one to many, many to one. So different type of JSON data which you will be getting. Like maybe, let me just take it here. Just a random example I'm taking. So you may be having some employee JSON, which will have like EID, name. Then you may have it, what is the department belong to. But department is not a string, it is another object. So it will be a nested JSON. In the department, like you have something called department code, department name. Then you have a location, which is again another one, L code, then L name. So it's a one JSON which is nested, right? So employee contains the department, department contains the location, and how will you populate your data to the drop downs and all the stuff also we can discuss it if you want it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so then one is that, so that the one is like we have some third party libraries called AG Grid community. Okay, what is this AG Grid community? I will just explain now. Okay, so this maybe I'll take it in the next session, because uh, the code I've already done it for some other training. I can use that same. Okay, so where AG Grid community is a one third party library. See, like in this application, if you see, everything we have taken care. That is, we have written the paging, pagination, all this. Why we have to write the pagination? Paginations, for that we have a different libraries will be available, right? So that here we have different libraries for the pagination to be taken care in the Angular, for Angular. Or you want to do some sorting, you want to do filtering of your data. So maybe you are expecting some kind of grid systems. For all these things, we got a one specification, which is AG Grid community. It is not only for Angular, it is there for Angular, Vue, React, or normal JavaScript also. So I'll just show it in here. Aggrid.com is our official website. I will just share this link in the chat. You can use it for your reference. Oh, it's going only for Shripada. Yes. I guess I sent a message both of you separately, and I'm sending it's only going for one person. Yeah. You see here, so this is the normal component have you have app component TS, and this is an app component HTML. You just see here, if you want to work with this first, this AG Grid community dependency should be added to your project, okay, by using npm install. So after that, if you see here, what is the data it is displaying? Here there is some hard-coded data is there, which is raw data. Make Toyota model is silicon price. There is some data is available, okay. So where, how you want to display it, so the column definition should be given. What are all the fields you want to give, like product or product ID or whatever the fields you have it. Like here there are three fields are there. So the column definition should be constructed like this in the AG Grid. Then in the component HTML, we no need to write our own HTML tags. We can use it here, AG Grid Angular, AG Grid hyphen Angular. So it will take what is the style we wanted and what is the class. This is the AG theme Alpine. Like whenever you install the AG Grid community to your project, the CSS, like how you added the CSS for node modules and for the font awesome, same way for this theme also you have to add the CSS in your Angular JSON file. Then the what is the raw data which you are getting, this should be given here, and what is the column definition, so that it will be given in the grid system. Let me just show it to you here. It is just loading. Yeah. So we just written this much simple code, but this is the UI, we got it. Okay. So that is, it will be taken as a gridding system. No need to write any CSS. So because by default, AG Grid CSS will be taken care of for the AG Grid community. So this is only a simple HTML code you have to write it. So where if you want to go with pagination, filtering, sorting and all, just come to the down here. Like this is the way you can add it for your project. Like once you created npm Angular CSS, then once you created your application, you can do npm install -c AG Grid community and AG Grid Angular. Once you have done this, it will be install the dependencies for your project. Then you have to display in the Angular router module, which is AG Grid module with components. So this is the line that you have to add it in the app module TS. Then the theme should be included. If you are going with the SCSS, this is the way you will add it. But if you are using normal CSS, you can use the AG Grid CSS and AG theme Alpine in your Angular JSON file. Then this code is already we discussed. So this way the output, like I want to give the enabling a sorting and searching or filtering for this. How can we do it? It's very simple. For which field you want to give a sorting, just go to that column definition and give sortable true. then the sorting will be automatically enabled. If you give this sortable true, here you will get one sorting icon. If you click on that, so you will be getting the reverse sorting. If you click one more time, you will get it in the forward sorting. So that sortable will be enabled. Same way, if you want to give filtering, you take filter true, so that you can see here, this is the symbol for the sorting, and here this is for filtering. Like, it will give plenty of options, that is it contains or is it checked, or whatever the features you want to take it, you will be able to get it with the contains. Where you want to fetch the remote data, like they have given the proper documentation is available. Whenever you want, you get a time, you can refer to this as well. Okay, so that is here. Yeah, we are taking this dot row data equals this dot http dot get, that is whatever the JSON which you want to take it. So that this is like, you can just go to any website, like just check for the fake backend API, fake REST API. JSON placeholder is a one website where you will get a lot of fake REST APIs. Like, if you don't want to prepare a backend, you can take it here. See, this is one, if you just try it, see, it's giving one code, one text. There are number of, like, it will be given the documentation, which common resources you have, like 100 posts are there, 500 comments are there. Like, if I just go to post, say it's actual data, which in the real scenarios, like user ID, title, body, and you have comments, you have albums, which is 100 albums, like whatever the users, like, if you can see here, it is a complex or the nested JSON, what I was explaining, like geo, phone, website, company, all these things. So whenever you are working on Angular project, so first, based on this, the JSON structure, we have to construct our model classes. We have to construct our model classes. Based on that model classes, you prepare your component TS or component HTML, that is to render or to add the data. So where some of the REST APIs will allow for the post data also. If you just go to this, yeah, if you just go to post, see, it is supporting for the get and post, put, patch, delete. All these methods are supporting with this particular REST API. So you can go to this and see what all the operations are supported. We can write the code for this as well. We can develop the Angular front end for this particular application also. Okay. So where I just shown to, that is here ng on init this dot row data equals, from any REST backend, you can send your link here. So based on that, you have to configure what is the header name and what is the field you want to access it, and do you want a sorting and filtering? Yes, you can give it here. So then in the AG grid Angular, what is the style you want to give it, the width and height, and the class is AG theme Alpine, and row data, which is you want to work with the asynchronous. So asynchronous data fetching should be there. Then you have a one pipe called async pipe, that is for the formatting of your. So it is, we are using here the pipe. What is the use of Angular pipes? That is to format your data. So in that formatting, we have one pipe called async pipe in the Angular. So that's what here they have used it. Okay. So it's basically, we'll call it as a impure pipe. So why will be used here the impure pipe means, it is automatically subscribed to an observable to emit the latest values. Like, if you just do adding a new value, but I want to reflect the data here without reloading my page. So that is, whenever you want to make automatic subscription to your data, with that you can go with the async pipe. So for that, here async pipe is used. Like, let me just go here. Somewhere they have given with.
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely.
Yeah. See, like this, you will be getting here your UI. Okay. So, like where if you are looking at the perspective of only gridding kind of codes you want to work with, so this much simple you can develop any application to get lot of data. So, are you clear with this HE grid?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
good.
So then, what else we have it? Okay, let me just.
Can you touch base on like if you have different backend servers, how that works here?
Like you want to get the data from multiple backend
Like
servers.
like we have different environments, right? Dev
Hmm.
stage, production, and all.
Ah, yeah, that is with the environment.ts.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah. So like here we have we have some files here like which is environments. So in this environments we can configure for this will be always automatically picked environment yes. But whenever you want to give it for the production, so you can use environment prod.ts. The same way new environments also can be configured. Yes, anyway that I'll show it in the tomorrow session.
Okay.
Like you, is it the Angular different environments or the different backend servers you want to connect it?
Both cases, right? Angular also, I think some projects they use then microservices thing. Two different Angular hostings will be talking to each other. At the same time, each of them talking to different backends.
Okay, so like one Angular application is talking with another Angular application. That's what you're
Correct.
saying?
Like correct. Yeah. So the base home page is of a smaller application which has a minimum set of features, and as and when user gets deep
Hmm.
into the application, it spins up another one.
Yeah. Oh, so that's anyway that we will only just we have to configure the links which we want to talk to. So
Okay.
yeah, that also I can add it. Yeah, it's a good point. I'll add that as well tomorrow session. Or like if you wanted tomorrow or day after, whenever you wanted. And like what I was thinking, so one is with how the post method will be constructing for any particular data. And how will you render the data to the drop downs, like from the backend, which data we are getting? Let me just put it here. Like post put, and then there is one more thing called state management. Yeah, according to the content, this 4 are pending. So then, which you asked is Angular interaction with another Angular application, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, sure. An environment. Yeah, okay. Anything you want me to add it for next session, please tell me so that I'll make according to like that.
And the code that you have said does have that worth token authentication, all those things, isn't it?
Yes.
Uh,
The entire code, whatever I have demonstrated, this complete project is available there.
okay. And the course part you are talking about should be handled at the back end, I believe, because
Yeah,
it
yeah.
comes
In
as
the
part
back
of
end, we have to set the In the back end, we
the
have to set
filter.
the course policy. Yeah. That's what the backend you wanted with a Spring or normal Java application is also okay. I have one
If it is
Spring
already
REST
there with
application.
Spring Boot or Spring, it would be fine because
Yeah, I have one Spring REST application because as full stack I used to use it with Spring REST, not with a Spring Boot. Yeah, with Spring REST I have. I can show that.
sure.
Yeah. Shri, you want me to add anything?
No, I guess. Do you have anything on Angular Watcher?
That is, you are asking about the debugging or
No, the Watcher to detect the URL and perform some functions, something like that.
Watcher is asking.
okay. Yeah, watches on. I guess with the Angular 2, I may have it on Angular 4 or some other version. Then try it with the Angular 8 and above. Yeah, I'll just try to add it. I'll see.
Okay, sure.
The watcher in the sense of change detections.
Yeah, change of URL.
Change of URL. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I have something, or else I'll prepare it and show it. No worries. So change of. Yeah. Anything else?
This looks good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did you session management? Would you cover that?
Yeah, that is state management. Oh,
Okay.
session management. Huh?
Okay.
Oh, it's session management. Okay, if you want, I can have that.
At
Not
least
sure which
brief
one.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Like how we ideally time out the session when little bit on the real time.
Yeah.
How it
Sure.
works.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Probably I'm good there then.
Okay.
What is the state management? Is it different than what I asked for?
It's a kind of subject and behavior subjects. So
Okay.
it will be there on that. So that will be working on it.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah, okay. So if that much is covered, it's okay for you, right? Okay. So for this anyway, I'll just take one application to explain it. So then state management, okay. Yeah, for all these things, I'll take one application and try to cover everything in a one. Yeah, so these things I'll try to do it in one, and I'll explain how the state management will be taken care. An Angular interaction with another Angular application, like it's a perspective of microservices, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay. So all these things we will do it in the next session. So when you want next session?
How much time it will take? We need it 2 sessions or 1 session covering all of them?
I guess then maybe 1 session is enough. I guess so.
Okay.
Because we don't need to code it, right? So we just have to go through with that, with the ready one. If we want to code it, it will take more than 3 sessions.
Correct. Yeah.
Because whatever we discussed today, if we go through with the hands-on, so it would have be like 3 or 4 sessions.
Our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.